The invitation to my cousin Rachel's wedding at Sierra Mare Estate arrived the same morning I reviewed our newest vineyard acquisition in Tuscany. The irony wasn't lost on me. My family still believed I was a junior coordinator at a travel agency in Denver. In reality, I was 35 and the founder of Marin Lux Holdings, an international resort and destination company with 25 properties across Europe, South America, and the U.S., including, of course, the scenic coastal venue Rachel had chosen for her lavish wedding. "Miss Emery Caldwell?" My assistant Josh peeked in from the doorway. "The manager at Sierra Mare just called. Your cousin's wedding planner is requesting quite a bit." I smirked, remembering Rachel's last comment at Thanksgiving. "Oh, Emery? Still booking cheap group tours, right? We should still invite her. She could use the escape." "Give them what they want," I replied. "But keep everything discreet. As far as they know, I'm just another guest. Let them enjoy their fantasy." Josh hesitated. "One more thing. She's demanding the grand seaside villa, the one you always use when you visit." I leaned back in my office chair, gazing out at the Denver skyline. To my relatives, I still lived in a modest walk-up apartment with noisy neighbors. They had no idea I'd purchased the entire top floor of the Pinnacle Tower last year. "Perfect," I said. "Let her have it." The Caldwell family had always been image-obsessed. My cousins Rachel and Derek measured success by how recognizable the designer label was. Meanwhile, I'd quietly built an empire. One contract, one hotel, one island at a time. To them, I was still Emery, the budget traveler who never quite found her path. My phone buzzed. It was Aunt Linda, Rachel's mother. "Emery, sweetheart. We know how expensive Sierra Mare can be. Don't feel pressured to stay the weekend. Maybe just attend the ceremony?" I thought back to this morning's board meeting where I'd just approved a $60 million sustainability project for that very property. "No worries," I texted back, smiling. "I'll manage." The wedding was only 3 days away, and Josh had been forwarding me daily updates from the Sierra Mare team. Rachel was in peak form, name-dropping imaginary contacts and demanding custom everything. "Miss Caldwell," Josh returned. "Your aunt just called again, trying to get a discount. She said you knew people in hospitality." I laughed under my breath. "Oh, I know a few." "What did the planner say when she made the demand?" I asked, still skimming the sustainability report from the Tuscany estate. Josh smirked. "They told her they'd have to check with the owner. She's now insisting on speaking directly with E.L. Caldwell." Ah, yes. Poor E.L. Caldwell. My professional identity, Eleanor Lynn Caldwell, the discreet owner behind Marin Lux Holdings. A name whispered in the luxury hospitality world, known for exclusivity, discretion, and near-total privacy. The name was known, the face wasn't. And to my family, they knew the face, but not the name. "Let her wait," I said calmly. "Some truths deserve a dramatic entrance." I flipped to the next page of Sierra Mare's operations log. Apparently, Rachel had been telling her friends she was personally approved for the estate's grand seaside villa. The irony? That villa was my custom-designed residence, tailored to my taste down to the hand-blown Murano fixtures. My phone vibrated. It was my mother, the only person who knew the truth. "Sweetheart, are you sure you want them thinking you're broke?" Rachel's being especially unkind. "Just a few more days," I replied. "Some lessons need the right setting." I turned to the live security feeds spanning our resorts: Argentina, Lake Como, Maui, and Sierra Mare, my first acquisition. I bought it 8 years ago, right after Rachel scoffed that I'd never make it past Expedia. I'd kept my identity private then to avoid meddling from family who suddenly cared when money was involved. "Ms. Caldwell," Josh said over the intercom, "your cousin Derek just checked in." Of course. Rachel's brother, Derek, the self-declared luxury lifestyle consultant. He was throwing a fit at the reception desk, claiming personal ties with the resort's owner. "Let him have an upgrade," I said. "Put him in the garden wing. The garden wing, quiet, clean, but under soft renovations. Subtle imperfections, like lukewarm water, inconsistent Wi-Fi, and a garden view currently occupied by temporary fencing. Then another text popped up. Rachel. Emery, darling, I heard you managed to find a room after all. How clever. You know, there's a roadside lodge nearby if Sierra Marais is too much for your budget. Just a thought. I glanced at the deed to the estate, framed next to a photo of me breaking ground there. I smiled. Thanks, Rachel. I'll manage. Might be late to the rehearsal dinner. Business call. You understand? Her reply came fast. Of course. Timing is everything. In hospitality, in family, and especially in humility. Still working at that discount travel agency? Rachel's voice dripped with pity as she clinked her rosé against her bridesmaids. You really should think about a career change, Em. Luxury hospitality isn't for everyone. If she only knew. At that exact moment, I was finalizing a $210 million acquisition of a 5-star wellness resort in Dubai. Another gem in Marin Lux Holdings' growing international crown. As for that discount agency she referred to, I owned the entire chain, including the very desk she once saw me behind years ago during a brief on-site inspection. Sometimes the best disguise is the one people are eager to believe. I pulled up the Sierra Marais guest list on my tablet. Most of Rachel's elite circle were actually long-standing partners or investors of mine. None of them knew that the so-called poor cousin would be seated quietly in the back, watching it all unfold. Josh, I called. Make sure my villa is fully prepped. For Rachel. He raised an eyebrow. All of it? All of it. Let her taste every inch of what she thinks she deserves. Because sometimes revenge doesn't roar. Sometimes it walks in wearing grace and lets people expose themselves, lavishly. The day before the wedding, I arrived through the private garden entrance reserved for E.L. Caldwell. Slipping into my own property unnoticed still felt surreal. Miss Caldwell? Thomas, Sierra Marais' manager, greeted me with a quiet nod. Your cousin is currently in your suite, complaining about the champagne. I smiled. The Bollinger Blanc de Noir from 2008? She says Dom Perignon would be classier. That bottle alone cost more than her monthly rent. The private cellar in that villa housed wines rare enough to headline an auction at Sotheby's. She also insists on speaking with the owner, Thomas added. She's name-dropping her father's contacts, claims he and E.L. Caldwell are good friends. That made me laugh. Uncle David had never so much as toured Amar and Luke's property, yet he'd been casually pretending to know the elusive founder for years. As I stepped into the main hall, I heard my name. Emery, you made it, Rachel called, descending the stairs in silk and entitlement. She eyed my understated black dress and frowned. Though, perhaps next time you could use the service entrance? Some of the guests are particular. I smiled, touching the briefcase in my hand, the one holding full deed rights to Sierra Marais. How's the villa? Elegant enough, she sniffed. But I've been trying to get in touch with the owner. There are things to improve. Of course, I said smoothly. I'm sure the owner will get your message. And oh, she would. Very soon. And if you're still with me, trust me, you won't want to miss what happens when Rachel finally meets the elusive owner face to face. Subscribe to the channel so you're the first to see how this all unfolds. Just then, Derek arrived in the lounge, his expression tight with irritation. This place is slipping, he muttered. My room's air conditioning is inconsistent and room service was 12 minutes late. Rachel's jaw dropped. What? Sierra Marais is supposed to be flawless. Daddy said E.L. Caldwell runs the most elite resort chain in the industry. Well, Derek added, I dropped Dad's name at the front desk, mentioned our supposed friendship with Caldwell. Didn't seem to impress anyone. From behind the counter, I could see Thomas, the estate manager, biting the inside of his cheek to keep from laughing. He, like all senior staff, knew exactly who I was. "Miss Caldwell," he said smoothly. "Shall I show you to your suite?" "North wing, as usual." Rachel laughed. "Oh, don't be silly. Emery can't afford the north wing. We put her in one of the garden rooms. Far more appropriate." "Actually," I said, holding her gaze, "I have a suite." The north wing housed my second personal residence, hidden in plain sight and virtually unknown, even to most employees. "Impossible," Derek snorted. "Those rooms go for more than she makes in a quarter, at that travel desk she works at." Right on cue, Josh appeared with a tablet in hand. "Miss Caldwell, sorry to interrupt, but there's an urgent call from Dubai. The resort board there wants confirmation on the acquisition structure." Rachel blinked. "Dubai?" "Just hotel business," I said casually. "Nothing that would interest you." Derek jumped in, desperate to reassert control. "Well, Father's been exploring investments in the luxury hospitality space. He's in talks with Marin Lux Holdings, claims he's close to a deal with E.L. Caldwell." I almost laughed. Uncle David's pitch deck, rife with typos and entitled assumptions, had been sitting unread in my office inbox for 3 weeks. "How fascinating," I said. "It's a small world, after all." "Yes," Rachel said smugly. "We're quite connected, unlike some people who never made it past middle management." Just then, my phone buzzed. A security alert showed Uncle David at the front desk, loudly invoking Caldwell's name and demanding VIP status for the wedding. "Excuse me," I said smoothly, heading toward the elevator. "Emery," Rachel snapped. "That's for premium guests only." Thomas gave a small bow and opened the doors for me. Upstairs, in my private suite, I opened Sierra Murray's management dashboard. Rachel had spent the morning piling on extravagant requests, assuming her father's connection would foot the bill. "Josh," I said, "please let the planner know. Miss Caldwell approves every one of Rachel's requests." "Every single request?" Josh asked. "Everyone," I confirmed. "Even the last-minute helicopter entrance for the ceremony?" "Especially that." I smiled, imagining the Marin Lux Holdings emblem gleaming on the side of the aircraft as it descended over the coastline. It would be the most extravagant and ironic branding opportunity I'd ever approved. My phone lit up with another message from my mother. "Darling, David's telling everyone he's having a private meeting with E.L. Caldwell before the ceremony. Please." "Are you finally going to reveal the truth?" "Soon," I replied. "Let's see how much deeper they dig themselves first." On the security feeds, I watched them arrive, one by one. Derek name-dropping industry contacts, Uncle David boasting about exclusive investment talks, and Rachel giving her bridesmaids a tour of my private villa as if she held the deed. "Once Daddy finalizes his deal," she said confidently, "we'll practically be co-owners of Sierra Murray. E.L. Caldwell clearly respects our family's status." I switched off the feed, focusing instead on the final checklist for what I'd long dubbed the reveal. Some truths are best delivered with impeccable timing and just enough spectacle. The morning of Rachel's wedding unfolded with surgical precision. I'd arranged the ceremony to align with the evening's golden hour, ensuring the kind of sunset that would flood every social media post with envy. From my private suite, I dressed with care, choosing a sleek pearl gray Chanel dress tailored to me personally. One Rachel had begged for 2 seasons ago and been politely turned away from. The irony? I sat on the board that decided the client list. "Miss Caldwell," Josh entered with my morning briefing. "Your uncle is downstairs, demanding a meeting with E.L. Caldwell. He says it's urgent." I checked the feed. Uncle David was red-faced, animatedly telling the concierge about his long-standing friendship with me. "Let him carry on," I said calmly. "And Rachel?" Josh asked. "She's in my villa, Furious, the helicopter is white instead of gold. She claims I, E.L. Caldwell, promised her father it would be gold. I chuckled softly, thinking of all the family dinners where Rachel flaunted bags I already owned in duplicate and offered me leftover favors with pity. Is everything set for the beach ceremony? All in place, Josh said. The announcement is cued. I looked out at the Crystal Pavilion, built as a permanent estate feature. Rachel thought it was her custom wedding centerpiece. My phone buzzed. Derek. Where are you sitting? Dad wants you up front with family. They're saying E.L. Caldwell might make an appearance. Emery, where are you? Rachel's text lit up my phone as I scanned the final ceremony logistics. She's furious you skipped the bridal prep. Then again, maybe it's better. Your presence might feel out of place with the luxury crowd. I ignored the message, focusing instead on the security feeds. Through every camera angle, I watched them, all in designer gowns and overpriced shoes, trying to outshine one another. These were the same people who, not long ago, chuckled at my unambitious lifestyle and urged me to find a man who could take care of me. Now, those same voices were loudly proclaiming their personal ties to my company. Some even claimed they were negotiating deals with the elusive E.L. Caldwell. They were partially right. Miss Caldwell, Thomas said gently from the doorway. It's time. The ceremony begins in 1 hour, and your cousin is insisting on A.L. Caldwell's presence. Perfect, I said, reaching for a sleek black folder. Inside were ownership papers, acquisition contracts, and recent board minutes, all bearing my name. Let's not keep them waiting. I descended to the beach level via the private elevator, stepping into the salty breeze just as Rachel was berating the staff. This is unacceptable. I specifically requested bottles from the Caldwell Private Reserve. What is this? She cried, motioning toward a bottle that retailed higher than her entire bridal suite tab. Daddy said his friend, Caldwell, would handle everything. I demand to speak with the owner. Now. Your wish is granted, I said calmly, stepping into view. She spun around, silk and satin whipping with the motion. Her eyes locked on mine, then dipped to the Chanel dress I wore, then widened. Emery, what are you wearing? The same piece you tried to order last month, I replied. The one the boutique said was reserved for board members only. That's impossible. Is it? I smiled. Because I remember that board meeting well. Uncle David chose that moment to storm over, flustered and red-faced. Emery, where have you been? We're having a crisis. The owner hasn't returned any of my calls, after everything I've done for them. Like the investment proposal you sent to E.L. Caldwell 3 weeks ago? I said, tilting my head. The one still sitting, unread, on my desk. Dead silence. Rachel's flawless makeup couldn't cover the shock settling into her face. Derek froze mid-rant. I turned to Thomas, who stepped forward as planned. Ladies and gentlemen, he announced, please welcome Miss Emery Lynn Caldwell, founder and sole owner of Sierra Marais Estate and CEO of Marin Lux Holdings. Gasps rippled like a wave. Rachel's bridesmaids, who had offered to help me network up during cocktail hour, looked physically ill. Rachel, trembling, tried one last attempt at denial. This has to be a joke. You book group tours. I own that agency, I corrected, along with 24 luxury properties across 6 countries, including this one. The villa? She croaked. My private residence. The champagne? My personal reserve. Derek stepped forward, pale. The Dubai deal? Our newest acquisition, I confirmed. Finalized yesterday, while you were complaining about your air conditioning. Uncle David dropped into a chair, speechless. All these years, I thought I knew E.L. Caldwell. You did, I said softly. You just didn't recognize me. And as they sat, stunned and silent. I added one final truth. You spent so long deciding what success should look like. You never noticed it was standing right in front of you. If you've ever been underestimated, silenced, or told you didn't belong, then you already know a piece of my story. I'd love to hear yours. Drop a comment and let me know where you're watching from and what moment made you realize your worth. And if you're cheering me on, hit that subscribe button. Because here's the truth. Real success doesn't need to shout. It just shows up, owns the room, and lets the facts speak. Stay patient, stay focused, and never forget. Sometimes the best power move is letting them think you're ordinary. Right until the moment you don't.